shit, no. Too late.
All right.
In 15 seconds, we're going to get started.
It says one on mine.
Hello, 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 hello. Hey, everybody. So I am really excited about today's live session. I really don't be doing live sessions like this anymore, but I am definitely going to start. Um, but I wanted to do this live session with our special guest because I discovered something the other day, and I feel like there's so many people who are actually experiencing some of the same things that we were talking about organically. And I wanted to share with you guys. So today I have beautiful DeAnda from DeAnda Factor. And I want to tell you before we even get started, let me just tell you what happened, you guys. For those of you who may know or maybe not even know, just recently in October, I did a uh, OnlyBand's boot camp. What happened was I decided to put myself out in the public eye and go on to where did I go? Exodus Summit.
Sorry.
Exodus Summit. I reached out to Stephanie Perry. If you guys don't know Exodus Summit, I really, really am encouraging you to look them up, especially if you're someone who is wanting to travel more, wanting to move abroad, wanting to do some sort of house sitting. Exodus Summit is the place to be. And Stephanie and Rashida are the people to talk to for that. So, anyway, I decided to put myself out there because I said that this year I was going to be in front of a new audience. And, child, I, after my talk on Exodus Summit, which was absolutely amazing, I felt really good and energized about what I was doing and what I was talking about, helping people to start their fan platform so that they can earn enough money to move abroad. Well, I didn't realize that there were going to be so many ladies who were interested in doing just that. And DeAnda was one of those beautiful ladies, and it was amazing. So, DeAnda, you know,
Uh-huh.
I can go on and on and on and on. I want you to, whatever I missed in the introduction, introduce yourself
Right.
and tell the people a little bit more about how you and I ended up connecting.
Right. Well, thank you for that. So like Mo said, we actually met through Exodus Summit. She did a session, and I was immediately drawn to her session. And let me just back up just a sec. So my name is DeAnda. For those of you who are streaming live from Mo's channel, my channel is the DeAnda Factor. Please like and subscribe when you get a chance. At any rate, we met, or I met her, or was introduced to her via the Exodus Summit. And her confidence to coins boot camp that I joined shortly thereafter just kind of cinched it. And it was almost an immediate, I think, we're going to talk more about this today, but it was almost immediate sister friend. From Stephanie and Rashida introduced you, and it was like, I know her. I know her. It turns out that we're the same age. We we had so much in common.
Yeah.
And I think we're also at a point where we've done some big pivoting that's very similar. And we're in, these points in our lives that are connecting, so that it was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, come on in, open the door, come on in. And I think that was the catalyst. There was an immediate bond. your boot camp, further introduced confidence, courage, sisterhood, support, boundaries, and reinvention,
Yeah.
which we will, kind of get more into during this live. But yeah, that's basically how we met. So again, I just want to just kind of state that we're streaming both on Mo's channel, Coach Mo's channel, as well as my channel on YouTube. So if you're joining us from either one of those channels, welcome. And please like, forward, and comment.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So you guys, this boot camp that I did, OnlyBand, I didn't realize that there were going to be so many women who signed up for this particular boot camp. And I decided, I was a little overzealous, and I decided, okay, I'm going to do a webinar. I'm going to have like 2 levels, which is nothing different than I've done in the past. I was having 2 entry levels. One was the elite level, one was a regular level. I've used Zoom for all of my trainings and coachings, but Zoom had offered a webinar part of their platform. And I was just like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this webinar thing. We finna do it big. And I was in over my head. I was overwhelmed. Anything that could go wrong went wrong on that first night. And I was all over the place, you guys. And if you know anything about me, I'm a perfectionist. I don't like to look weak in the eyes of others. That we're going to talk about that. I don't like to look weak in the eyes of others. And it was really like overwhelming for me. And DeAnda and another beautiful lady hit me up, and they were like, look, if you need help, I'm here to assist. Just tell me how I can jump in and help you.
Yeah.
And I was like, normally I default to no, I don't need no help.
Yeah.
I default to superwoman. I default to I got it by myself. I can do it all. I default to that. And I realized that so many women also default to I got it. I don't need no help. And I finally just took a deep breath and I said, nah, Mo, you need help.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are elevating this year. Can we say elevate? Can I see y'all type in the chat? Elevate. We are elevating and we are owning that. And I was like, because I've already put it out there that I'm elevating, I need help. I cannot do all of this by myself. DeAnda and beautiful, oh my God, why does her name escape me? DeAnda, who is with her?
What's her name? Oh my God, she's gonna be like, man, y'all can't remember me.
Wait a minute, hold on. It's not because she did not play a significant
No,
part.
That's not it. Makeda.
It's because my brain took a
that menopause brain is a whole nother episode. We're not gonna get into that, y'all, but y'all know what we're talking about. Yeah.
But you guys were so amazing, and it turned out that I needed both of y'all to help, and it just turned out great. And then as time went on, here we are. And it's crazy because how we got here to this particular live session, DeAnda and I are working on some other projects. We are in talks about other projects. And as we were talking,
we're done to share.
I was like, people need to hear what we're talking about right now, because I know we're not the only ones who experience this. So here we are. I'm excited. I'm excited to get started.
As am I. And just to kind of piggyback off that. So as Mo just mentioned, that first night of the boot camp, there were some technical difficulties that took place. And I think honestly, it was all of us, kind of navigating through there, because there was even some things that I was like, okay, this wasn't on the last lot, Zoom situation that
Right.
I was involved in, that this happened, or this button was over there now, or this button is non-existent. And we were, Googling, hey, how do you do this, and that kind of stuff. And I did something also during that time. So I saw that, there was a need for, hey, she could use some help. And I did a quick come to Jesus talk with self and said, hey, can you assist while
Yeah.
you're trying to learn and get your stuff from this situation too, right? And so I, kind of, what you do is you check and see, okay, would I be able to, help get what I need, put my oxygen mask on first, and then help somebody else, right? So that's what I did. I asked myself that. And it was also kind of looking at the principles that are involved with being in the Exodus Summit community. And that is community. That is
Mhm.
accountability partnerships. That is getting in a mindset of ease, a mindset of joy.
Right.
And I knew that if you weren't in a mindset of, oh, I can do this, I can give them what they need, what I want to give them, and you're, frustrated with the technology not going right. If she had somebody to, kind of get the, be the behind the scenes person, or in the back, on the backstage of it all, where she could then get up on the stage, front of the stage, and shine and do and be, then, Virgo girl said, you can do this, queen. So go ahead. And so I immediately sent you an email, shot that over. And, you could have said no, because that happens too.
Yeah.
No judgment. People do it. But I put it out there. And I think, Makeda did the same thing, and you said, you know what? Yes, I can take that off my plate. I can give that to somebody else. And then and you did. You basically, you stepped up on stage and you made it shine. And it was almost, what could happen, whatever, because stuff happened, when
It
you're
seemed
adult,
like every night there was a
was
challenge.
it was a challenge, but it wasn't
But
a challenge we couldn't get past.
I realized that I would have fallen apart had I had those same challenges every night and I didn't say yes to you guys.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
first and foremost, I have to thank both of y'all for
Yeah.
allowing me to shine. And one
Yeah.
of the things that, since you're talking about that, that just came up for me is so often women, and I hate to say it,
Yeah.
but we don't want to see another woman shine. There is so much jealousy and competition involved in a
Mhm.
lot of female relationships that we don't want to take the back seat. Like, no, nah, I ain't helping her.
Yeah.
And you guys were so gracious,
Mhm.
and you didn't mind, like, being there to assist in any way possible. And you helped me to have boundaries,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
stood up for me. And I,
Right.
I really was needing that at the time
Yeah.
because I was getting beat
Yeah.
up. I was getting beat up by
Right.
them ladies, some
Right.
of
Right. 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 And I mean, I think
them.
again, being in, I should also point out that, so this was Exodus Summit 6th year. I've
Hmm.
been there all 6 years. So this was
Hmm.
my 6th year with the Exodus Summit. Every year they just like grow, right? Every
Hmm.
year it gets better and better, right? And I've read some of the comments, and there are people who, like me, this is their 6th year, and they also said this was the best year. Now I think we say this every year, but but there were several people, who said that, and that was due in part to people like you who were there. There were
Hmm.
several millionaires who were,
Hmm.
leading some of those sessions, but it was so like starchy. It was community.
Right.
It was, I don't know, what's the word? It was people getting out of their own way.
Yeah.
You know, your session, the title of it, Courage and Cash Flow, Band Beyond Borders and OnlyFans. Now, when you think about that, you getting your feelings about whatever your feelings on it all. But I think your message essentially was about courage and confidence. Your
Hmm.
message essentially was about getting out of your own way. Your
Yeah.
message wasn't about, show a boob. Your message was about, oh, you've never taken a selfie before? Well, try it. We had people who found, have these triggers or whatever, and they faced them during that
Yeah.
boot camp. They stood up to them and said, yeah, I got problems with, my auntie, my uncle, but fuck them. I'm doing it. It's
Right.
like I'm getting out of my own way. I'm not letting, what society is telling me I should be doing at 50 or at 40. I'm doing it. What this job who doesn't give a crap about me is telling me I should be hiding
Exactly.
behind. I'm going to get in front of that. And that's what you were showing. That's what you were giving. And you gave that from the very moment I met you.
Right. And I think a lot of people, because of how I present on stage, and by the
Mhm.
way, let's just reiterate, because like I said, I can just get started and I
Yeah.
won't stop. But so what we want to talk about is soft life boundaries and giving yourself permission to receive. Okay. So we want to talk about those things. Um, and I think because of how I present myself and show up online, a lot of people misconstrue the real message. And the
Mhm.
real message, like you said, it has nothing to do with showing up naked or half
Mhm.
naked or
Mhm.
starting a fan page. It's
Right.
about having courage to be
Yeah.
seen,
Yeah.
having courage to stop taking a back seat to
Right.
everybody, to
Yeah.
your job, to your family, to your children,
Yeah.
to whatever it is that's keeping you hiding. We
Yeah.
had a beautiful lady in the boot camp who went through the whole boot camp, showed up in the elite, and then by the time we got to the end, she was like, you know what? I realized that OnlyFans is not for me.
Mhm.
But what I have been doing over the past, I don't know how many years, she said, she had a YouTube channel where it's been faceless. She
Yeah.
didn't have the courage to show her face until the end of this boot camp. And
Yeah.
she created this beautiful video as
Yeah.
her debut video to come out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I
Yeah.
think there wasn't a dry eye.
I mean, I
Everybody was
mean,
like,
I'm
oh,
a crier anyway, but that one, I think it was stuff like that. It was
yeah.
hearing, woman after woman, just owning their womanness and
Hmm.
owning that I give myself permission to just do it. I give
Yeah.
myself permission to be.
Yeah.
And that's something that sometimes you know it, sometimes you even tell yourself, but sometimes you don't believe it,
Exactly.
until some things like, or someone like a the goddess, steps up and shows you that it doesn't have to be on a stage.
Right.
It could be literally in your family. It could be at your desk at work, that you decide that there's a boundary here, and
Mhm.
if I don't do it, they're going to continue to step over me. They're going
Right.
to continue to dim my light. And another thing that kind of came out of that was people realized they were dimming their own light.
That's
They
what
were
it boils
dimming
down
their own,
to.
yeah, they were dimming their own light. And it wasn't, my son or my husband or my partner or my mother or whatever who was dimming them. It was them, because they were allowing it. they had not put those boundaries up in order to do that. And they didn't have the confidence to do it.
And it boils down to confidence a lot. I remember it in the reason why I do this work is because there were so many years where I played small to make other people feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I'm an amazing dynamic woman. I'm a
Mhm.
big stature. I walk with my head up, and that is that's something that was instilled in me as a young woman. Never let them see you sweat. That's another thing that we carry on our backs, right? You never let nobody see you cry. You never let nobody see you weak, because that is a sign of weakness. So
Yeah.
although it was a gift and a curse for me, I always walked with my head up. I always walked, in the knowing, even though I didn't know. So what
Yeah.
happened was I started to come off intimidating to
Mhm.
other people, so that
Mhm.
taught me to play small. Now
Yeah.
speak up. Don't speak up, because they're gonna
Right.
think you're a smart ass. They're gonna think you
Mhm.
know it all. They gonna
Mhm.
wonder, who you think you are. So I
Mhm.
played small. I played
Yeah.
small everywhere. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So because I
Everything.
played small in the boardroom, I played small in the bedroom,
Yeah.
hiding, covering
Yeah.
up, not feeling good enough, feeling like I'm too much. I
Keep the lights
tiptoed
off.
through my life.
Yeah.
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 And we all have some semblance
Yeah.
of that. And it is
Mhm.
time to realize that your softness is your strength. So, with
Mhm.
that being said, DeAnda, I want to ask you this first question.
Okay.
We said that we're going to talk about soft life, we're going to talk about boundaries, and we're going to talk about the permission to receive, right? So,
Yeah.
what does soft life really mean to you? Like, beyond the social
Yeah.
media buzzword, what does a
Right.
soft life actually mean for you?
Oh, I love that question because it's a bit layered, which, I would say that's probably everything about me. There's layers to it.
Hmm.
But in answering that question, it's a bit layered because for me, it's about, well, where do I want this soft life to take place? So there's that. And then
Hmm.
it's, how do I want to feel and be in this soft life? And for me, that
Right.
ends up being, I'm given the opportunity. So let me back up just a sec. Earlier this year, at the top of this year, I traveled to 5 countries, and it started off, kind of fast travel where I was there for a couple of weeks and then maybe a month, and then it was off to the next. And then finally, when I got to Bangkok, I decided, you know what? This fast travel is not mine. That's not the way I want to
Right.
do it. And just to kind of come back to your question, I allowed myself to, because I planned that, nobody pushed me out there to fast travel, and I allowed myself to kind of what you said at the top of this live is I took a breath and I said, well, just slow down, DeAnda. Just slow down. And a soft life to me is I have moments where I can pivot. I'm a planner from, that is like my thing, let's plan it. I
Right.
love getting in a plan, right? But allowing myself to pivot on a plan, allowing myself to change course, that it almost kind of scares me in a way, because that means that I don't necessarily have a plan if I'm changing the plan,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So a soft life
Hmm.
is being able to stand in it, take a breath, maybe close my eyes, open it up, and do it scared, do it
Right.
scared. And a soft life for me includes being in community, not trying to do it all on my own, um, inviting in, asking for help,
That's a big one.
delegating, and understanding that I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And I'm starting to almost enjoy that. I'm starting to enjoy reaching for that answer that I don't have. I'm starting to enjoy going to my accountability partners and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. There's fear there, there's genuine
Yeah.
fear. What do you think? And when
Mm-hmm.
I say accountability partners, that includes my therapist. I believe in therapy. That
Oh yeah.
includes what I call a toolbox of what do I go to when I get overwhelmed, or when I need to tap into more than just me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that toolbox include journaling, therapy, my sister friends, my accountability partners, which actually sister friend accountability partners is kind of one and the same. And my community as a whole, And, a lot of people, when you say community, because when you Google the word community, they immediately think you're meaning, your address. And
Right.
because of the life that I have where I travel, I don't necessarily have an address. So
So
that's not
yeah.
what
So I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to break your wisdom, but
that's.
I just thought about this. For me, as far
Yeah,
as the soft life is concerned, and one of the reasons why I chose to live in Bali, Indonesia, is not just to allow myself to be free, but
yeah,
Bali has such a nurturing maternal energy, and
yeah,
I needed that.
yeah,
Another thing for me, as far as soft life is concerned, is kind of like what you talked about,
yeah.
giving yourself permission to say yes or to ask for help. Now I'm still working on the ask for help part,
Mhm.
but if
Yeah,
it's offered,
yeah,
if
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
offered, I
yeah,
do give myself permission now to say
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Another thing you mentioned as far as soft life is concerned is therapy. That is
yeah.
so taboo, especially in the African American community, because we were all taught, at least in my family, you better
Walk it
pray
off.
it away. You better
Yeah,
pray that you
walk
better
it
get down on your knees. Therapy. First of all,
Yeah,
we couldn't afford therapy. Second of
mhm,
all, you were shunned, or it was such a taboo to talk about therapy. Only rich
mhm,
people,
mm,
have the
mhm,
money to
mm.
pay for therapy.
Yeah,
So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And another thing, as far as therapy is concerned, is many people look at that as a weakness. So why do you think that there are so many women who look at some of the things that we've discussed here as
mhm.
a weakness rather than a strength?
A strength. A lot of it is kind of what you said is societal, definitions of those things and what that means. And that's, a reason not to. Um, but a lot of it is just the stuff that we put in our own way, good and well that you should that you're overwhelmed. Good and well when fear walks in the door and gets all rude and disrespectful, putting his feet up on your furniture, and it's just like, get out of here, fear. You
Yeah.
don't, this is not yours. I want you out of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the tenacity or the tools, to open, or the strength to open up that toolbox and say, you know what, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm gonna allow myself, a crying moment,
Yeah.
because I actually do those things. I allow myself a crying moment. I tap into, well, who can I call right now?
Exactly.
Is this to get through this? Is this something that I need to call and get off the edge with? Have
Mm-hmm.
somebody help me get off the edge, or can I do it myself? Is it, do I journal? Do I cry about it? I mean, I I can recall not too long ago, maybe even last week. So I was, kind of overwhelmed. Something was coming up, and um I literally said, okay, I'm going to get up. I was, doing something on my laptop or whatever work. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a walk, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, when I came back, the issue, wasn't as overwhelmed. It didn't feel as overwhelming. The answer actually appeared. And I
Yeah.
think that was because I was able to, the fogginess, I was trying to do too much, or I was, just what we do, and instead of leaning into the overwhelm, you being overwhelmed by it, that I couldn't do it and I should be able to do it, because that's what I was
Right,
telling me.
right.
Be able to do this, and then I was starting to talk to myself badly. So that's another thing. And even with yourself, no is a complete sentence, even with
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Now, definitely with other people, and that to me is also under boundaries. But no is a complete sentence, and so I sometimes it's a muscle that I have been exercising of late. It's not a muscle that I'm used to, so I have to
Right.
continue to be very intentional about the muscle, asking for help, very intentional about it, because I'm not used to doing that. That's not something that I'm used to offering help. And I'm used to offering help when, oh, I'm going to not be able to pour into me because I'm offering you help. I'm going to hide behind, what I need to do for me because I'm offering you help. And then I get upset with you,
Yeah.
or I get upset with me. That's why I say no is a complete sentence. And that applies to DeAnda. You got to do that for you too, right? You got to say no to you too.
So just to jump in on that, let me just tell you about me, and this is like a real transparent moment for me. I remember not being so open to helping anyone else
Mhm.
because I was like, well, shit, I'm doing it. If
Yeah.
I could do it, they could do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember one time, because I'm a single mother, or I've always
Mhm.
been a single mother. I'm a single woman now. I'm
Mhm.
gonna stop saying single mother because my kids are grown.
Yeah.
But I've always been a single mother. So I remember times where if I went to the grocery store, this is just a simple thing that just helped me to understand how I was being hard, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I would go to the grocery store and I would grab all the bags, like as many as I could in one hand, as many as I could in the other
Mhm.
hand, and carry all of those bags, those
Mhm.
heavy ass bags,
Mhm.
by myself
Yeah.
in the house, right? And then it took one day for me to realize, like, girl, you don't have to carry all these bags at one time. We know you're strong. We
Yeah.
can, you've been strong. You've
Yeah.
raised two kids by yourself.
Yeah.
We know you can do it. You don't have anything to prove. And it was at that moment that I realized, girl, you gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that. What did
Yeah.
Mother Erica say? Bag lady.
Yeah.
So we are carrying so much, and that is just an example of us, being strong and
Mhm.
having to prove something, because I always felt like I had to prove something. If I
Yeah.
don't do it, who's gonna do it? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So what that did was, because I'm doing all the hard carrying and all the labor, I
Mhm.
ain't helping nobody else, because if I got to do this and ain't nobody helping me, then you
Right.
can do it too.
Right.
So I think a lot of times when we do have those awakenings and we realize that we have been carrying this heavy load, the reason why we don't accept help is because we've been so resentful about no one helping us. When
Right.
did you realize that you were being a little hard or carrying too much, or, overperforming for people?
So I should probably also mention, I'm the oldest of,
Oh,
my mom has three daughters.
okay.
So part of it is it's being the oldest and kind of being the first, When you're the firstborn, you're, oftentimes the first to do, the first to do that, the first to do that, and the first person someone calls
Yeah.
when it's good, bad, and all the things in between, right? So, I've, done some, kind of, okay, if I do it like this, in that if I run, and they can't catch me, then I won't have to say no. I won't have to be the
Okay.
one to
Yeah.
do it, right? Um, if I and that also alleviates me having to say no, because I used
Hmm.
to, okay, I'll do it. And like I said, I
Be
used to
mad
do it
about it.
begrudgingly. Yes. And then I'm mad at you. I'm mad at me.
Yep.
And I haven't put my oxygen mask on,
Yeah.
and so what that means is you're not getting 100 from me. You're not getting the best of me. You're getting a half-assed job is going to get done. And,
Right.
what happens is I know I could do better, but I didn't want to do it, or I didn't have the time to do it, but I said yes. And now I feel obligated, and this happens in not just, your work life, because a lot of people would say, well, they're paying you, but you can still say no. There's still boundaries that you need to put up, right?
Exactly.
It's your mother, but there's still boundaries you need to put up,
Yeah.
and
That's your mama, though. You only get one
yeah,
mama.
yeah. And
I've
I
heard that
know,
so much.
yeah, I know that when I do it from a place of love and from a place of, yes, I got you,
Uh-huh.
she gets better.
Right.
She gets it back. She gets the best of me versus me doing begrudgingly,
Yeah.
you know. And I think once I realize that if I don't put my oxygen mask on first, if I don't take, if I don't assess like I did when, it came time for me to volunteer and help you, if I don't do that assessment to say, okay, sis, like, you're going to say you want to help her, but if you don't know that, you want to get, this much out of it, and you're so busy helping her and you don't, again, put your oxygen mask on first, then you're not helping her really. She's
Exactly.
not going to get what she wants out of it. And so I think you would be the first one to say that you must have put your oxygen mask on because it went swimmingly. Like, I don't think there was any bad thing about that. Even the hiccups that we encountered, even the technical difficulties that I think we needed those things to happen, because had we not had it happen on that first night, I wouldn't have volunteered.
And you know what? It
Yeah.
also went swimmingly because you were absolutely amazing. But just let me tell you how well it went. It went so well that I felt guilty. I
Oh,
felt guilty for receiving. I was like, oh
oh,
my God, they volunteer. I'm not paying
oh,
them. It seems like
oh,
they're doing a lot. Everything's
yeah.
going smooth. I'm not stressed out because I'm used to being stressed. I
Yeah.
am used to being like,
Mm,
oh, I gotta get this done.
mhm,
If I don't
yeah.
do this, then
Mhm,
XYZ, whatever the case is, or whatever the
mhm,
stuff is. And
mhm.
it's just a trauma response. It really is a trauma response. So you
Yeah.
said that you're the oldest. I'm the oldest too, and I'm the only female. I have a
Um,
younger brother.
okay.
My brother's 3 years younger than me. So I'm
Okay.
the oldest as well. So
Mhm.
that's another thing. Like, you have to show up in a way as a leader all the time. You have to take the reins.
Yeah.
And I have been guilty of being overbearing,
Mhm,
and having that control
mhm.
spirit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Same.
And that is exhausting
Yeah. It
sometimes,
is.
to have
It
that
is.
role, that takeover spirit.
Yeah.
So, how do you think that? First and foremost, let me just ask you this, because we kind of
Okay.
covered, how women can start being a little guilt free when it comes
Mhm,
to receiving help. We
mhm,
kind of talked about that. But what do you
Mhm.
think the difference? Because like I said, the way we collaborated and the way we
Yeah.
worked together, it was just like, dang, it was like, okay, God, I see what you're doing. I see
Right.
what you're
Right.
doing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's the difference between a healthy collaboration and a draining one? Because accepting
Oh,
help is one thing, receiving
yeah.
help is one thing, but having a healthy collaboration and one that drains you, those are two different things now.
It is
So,
absolutely 100%.
what,
Yeah.
what do you think the difference between the two are?
I think the big difference is the permission that's involved. So, a healthy one is, again, I can use our situation as a great example, is you took a breath and you gave yourself permission to say, yes, I'll accept help. The unhealthy thing would have been, no, I got this. No, I'm going to do
But
it myself.
here's another thing that I realized that I
Mhm.
had to utilize: trust.
Yes.
Because I had to trust that you were going to be able to assist me in a way that did not stress me out or drain me. I had to
Right.
trust that
Yes.
you were going to show up in the ways that I needed you to show up.
Right.
And lo and behold, child, you did. And I didn't even have to tell you. It was just
Yeah.
like, even the participants in the class were like, oh my God, DeAnda,
Yeah.
you guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Like, y'all really doing this. And I
Right.
felt like, oh shit, okay, this is just telling me that I
Yeah.
need a team. I need a team. But anyway,
Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well,
Finish
no, I
what you were saying.
think to piggyback off of what you said, sometimes the universe has to show it to you, because I thoroughly believe, and you did say this in your boot camp, it's like this was the largest audience, of participants you've
At
had
one time, yes.
at one time, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I believe the universe had already been whispering, you need a team. You need a team.
Mm-hmm.
But you said
Mm-hmm.
this. You said I wasn't about letting, somebody come in. I don't build relationships like that, you know.
Yeah,
And
I really
when you're
don't.
coming from that vantage point, you can't really see it until it's up on you, which is what happened. It literally was on you, where, like you said,
Yeah.
I'd rather have a team than have, my, people can't get in the door.
Looking crazy.
Are knocking at the door, and I feel like I'm looking crazy. Some people would be like, okay, I'd rather look crazy, but it's mine. You know what I mean? Because like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I think I told you I volunteered for another situation very similar to yours in terms of a boot camp. Volunteered, put the same, kind of, hey, I'm here to help. Just tell me, where I can be of assistance. This is, I have knowledge in this, blah, blah, blah. You can take all of that or you
Mm-hmm.
can take pieces of it. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
no, she said, thank you. And then she said, I got
Mm-hmm.
it. And it showed. It absolutely
Yeah.
showed she needed help. Sometimes you have to have it whisper, and the whisper starts to get a little bit louder. I think that's a phrase that Oprah has used time and time again. It's like sometimes it starts as a really low whisper, and then it gets
Yep.
louder and louder. And I feel
Then it's
like
a boulder upside your head.
exactly. And on the day of that boot camp, it was just loudly saying, girl, get some help. It's like,
Girl,
what could
that
go
first
wrong?
day,
Yeah,
that first day of that boot camp, it was like, girl.
it was
So
funny.
let me just tell you some of the feelings that I had that
Yeah.
first day. It was like, girl, who did you think you were? That small
Okay.
version of me. Like, who did
Okay.
you think you were?
Yeah.
Why you think you could do this? Like,
Right.
you can't
Imposter
even do this.
syndrome.
You don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. You can't handle. But when you stepped in,
Yeah.
when y'all stepped in, it heightened my confidence. And I
Mhm.
like to operate in my confidence. I like to
Right.
operate in
Right.
bam, bam, bam. Like, I do
Mhm.
better in that way.
Yeah, of
And people are
course.
more inspired when I am more confident, When they can
Yeah.
see that in me, it gives them permission to have that same confidence.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
was sitting there, I was like, girl, what can it hurt that the people are asking you?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at this point, I wanted to cry, DeAnda, that first night.
I'm sure.
And I'm
I'm
sure you can
sure.
see that
Yeah.
because you
Well,
asked me.
you
But
know what?
I really wanted to cry.
Honestly, you didn't give that to us. I didn't know that you wanted to cry. I think afterwards when we talked, you shared that, oh my goodness, but that was the other thing. I think also having someone else to at least vent to, or at least, hey, I'm feeling like
Yeah.
this, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I right to feel this way? And I feel like almost every time you ask that question, I was like, hell yeah. It's like getting your feelings is, and it's okay. And they gave you that too. They gave you that back
But
too.
check
They were
this
like,
out.
yes, we feel that, because the people
Check
who are
this
for
out.
you, the people are for you, right?
Exactly. And they needed to see me be a little raggedy too, because there were a lot of women
Absolutely.
who were in the boot camp who felt a little raggedy when it
Yeah.
came to tech, when it came to,
Mhm.
confidence, when it came to
Right.
figuring it out. They could
Mhm.
see how raggedy I was and unprepared. And it was like I was doing it anyway, doing it scared. Like 80
Yeah.
women signed up for this boot camp. And
Mhm.
normally when I do a boot camp, it's no more than 12, 15
Mhm.
women. I can handle that by myself, like in my
Right.
sleep, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then out of all those 12 to 15 women, maybe five are really going to perform, five are really
Mhm.
going to show up every
Mhm.
day, five are really
Mhm.
going to do the work. But with
Right.
these 80 women, and I have to say, you guys, that's another thing that I want to talk about. 80 women were gung ho to sign up for this. But by the time we finished, there may have been
It was half.
half the
It was
class
half.
who showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was half the women who continued on.
Yeah.
Half the women showed up for themselves. A
Yeah.
lot of times we'll start something and we won't finish it because
Right.
of our confidence level or
Right.
because we're thrown a challenge or
Yeah.
because we're asked to do something that we're not used to doing. So
Yeah.
instead of leveling up or rising to the occasion or asking for help or looking
Mhm.
weak,
Yeah.
we just say, "Mm-mm,
That's
I ain't
okay.
gonna be able to do this.
I'll just
Yeah,
throw
no,
this money
no, I
away.
thought this was
Yeah.
that. I thought
Yeah.
this was this." Or we start pointing the finger like, she ain't talking about this, or I thought this was gonna be this. You know what I'm saying? So we start blaming
Mhm.
others.
That
So when we
happened.
talk about it happened, it happened.
That happened.
And it's usually the people that blame and say, "Oh, well, you didn't say this, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, and I thought it was gonna be this," are
Yeah.
normally the ones who wasn't gonna do shit anyway.
That
So it's a
part.
lot of ain't gonna do shit type of
Yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
world as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but how can, because I feel like honestly, and I owe this to you, and I've told you this on several occasions, but I feel like you are a part of my evolution. I feel like, okay, this is just a confirmation. Like I said, I'm going to need a team. This is a
Yeah.
confirmation that I need to show up in a different way. This is a
Yeah.
confirmation that I am worthy. I do know what I'm talking about. And there are good people in the world who want to help. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how can women like myself who have had all these negative connotations or maybe not shown up for themselves in the best way
Mhm.
start rewriting their identity from the strong one to the supported one?
Um, I one of the things that I would, well, it's a few things, but one of the things, or one of the top, number one things, is to not remove the strong part out of that. You can still be strong and ask for help. You
Yeah.
can still be you and ask for help. So
Hmm.
don't remove that part, because we need you to continue to be strong. We need you to continue to own your strength, but
Hmm.
don't use your strength as this, weaponize it. You know what I mean? Like, don't use it as this thing, I'm better than you because, my muscles are bigger,
Right.
um, because that's not going to get you closer to what you want either, right? And asking for help does not show weakness, and knowing that, right? Asking for help actually makes you, in my opinion, I know when I've done it, it ends up building me, giving me growth, giving me more strength, so I lean into it. I lean into it because it then ends up being, I get to do this because I'm able to now put that on my intern or my assistant, or, I'm going to pay somebody to do this. I'm going to go
Right.
and ask my sister Mo if she can do that while I go over here and do this. And then we come together and we have something even bigger, right?
Mhm.
So looking at it, not just what's in front of you. I'm a very, handsy person, but looking not just what's in front of you, but what's maybe down, down the lane there too. But not
Yeah.
too far, because you don't want to start thinking about, next year when you haven't even gotten to next week, right?
Yeah.
So, giving yourself permission to actually ask for help, and doing it with strength, doing it with within community as well, because it doesn't have to be this, one go-to person that you're always asking for help. It can be a conglomerate. You're like because you're the CEO of your life, right? And what that means is,
Period.
period, right? But what that means is you have the whole community that's a part of your enterprise, right? You are a part of my enterprise as I am a part of yours, right? In
Mhm.
these ways that we build each other up, not
Right.
tear each other down. And it is about being able to sometimes just say, and I think I mentioned to you that last week I was, talking to one of my other accountability partners, and we were scheduling a live. This was her time. It was
Mhm.
this week was, or last week was her turn to do it on the live on her channel. And we were going back and forth via text. And then I was like, let me just call her, because I was driving too. So I was like, I can't, keep going back and forth on text. And so I just called her, or
Right.
whatever. And she didn't come out of the, gate with, I'm tired or whatever. But she was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just, feeling kind of blue. I think her exact words was, I'm feeling a little blue.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I've been sleeping, but not well, like I can't stay asleep or whatever. And she's about almost 15 years younger than me. So I was like, it's not menopause, that's not the reason or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm just listening at this point. However, I'm also saying, I'm feeling the same way. I'm feeling the same. So we,
Right.
both kind of recognize we're in retrograde, and some other, kind of, environmental things that are going on. Like, we're not the only ones. My mom was telling me just the other day that she was feeling like this too. And you're just feeling kind of, I just want to be in hibernation mode. I just want to get under
Yeah.
the covers and I'm gonna holler back, but I'm also enjoying, what I am putting out, but I'm feeling
Yeah.
really exhausted. And I said, sis, and I did. I said it just like that. I said, sis, our YouTube channels is ours. YouTube is going to be there. If you need to take a break, if we need to take a break, let's do it. Because if we're going to do it and we're tired, if we're going to do it and we're doing it begrudgingly, it's not going to come off good. That's not going to be a good
Mhm.
episode. It's not going to be one that I would want to tune into, especially if you can't
Right.
give me what I need you to give me, in terms to make this good. Right.
Mhm.
And she was like, well, I didn't want to disappoint you. I said, never that, never that. you know. But what I say all that to say, but if I didn't know that, I never would have been able to say, then let's don't do this. Let's, put a pause.
Exactly.
Let's put a pause in it and let's revisit this when you are feeling better. And then she sent me a note. I think it was her this morning because she's in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, which was her afternoon, but my morning. And she said, I think I'm just going to put a pause on things until the top of the year, which is fine. Which is fine. She needs it. She needs to, I'm like, you like going to the museum? I said, I think you need to do that. Go and have a day, and do that, and not go for, to get content, but just go and be a spectator, and just enjoy. Go get a great meal. And you're in Malaysia. People would be dying to be in Malaysia right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Be where you are and enjoy that. And I think if women, particularly Black women,
Uh-huh.
were to kind of let go of some of that those societal norms and rules of how to be, they will be better for it. Your story in particular, which you shared with us during Exodus Summit this year, and then you further, did that in the boot camp, also just kind of leaned into where I was already going. I want a life of ease. I want a
Yes.
life of joy. I want a life that's what soft life is for me. It's
Right.
all of those things. Yes, I know adulting is not going to stop as long as I'm breathing. I know that. However, I do know that I don't have to do it in this way that I'm hustling. I have removed that from my life now. I don't hustle. The Black
Mm.
experience no longer is a goal of mine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of those things are exhausting. All of those things, hustle culture, the Black experience, trying to, buy a house, have a car, all these trappings, all these things that make you, oh, you made it,
Right.
all you're doing is striving for more. All you're doing is striving for more. And it is exhausting. Again, not hating on anybody who, if that's your lane, love,
Hey, if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. And I put
do
up a video yesterday on YouTube talking
it.
about just this.
Yeah.
Like I have expressed, I have two sons.
Mhm.
Between both of my sons, I have 6 grandchildren.
Oh,
And I'm here in Las Vegas now, which,
yeah.
child, that's another story for another day. But I'm here in Las Vegas
Yeah.
because one of my sons said to me, Mom, um, well, you lived here in Las Vegas when Dakota, which is my oldest son,
Mhm.
had his 5 kids. And now
Mhm.
that I have my first son, you're not here, and my son's not going to know who you are. So
Okay.
I felt a little guilty, and I was like, "You're
Yeah.
so right. Let me
Yeah.
fly to Las Vegas
Right.
while I'm in the
Right.
United States and
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
grandmama while I'm
Right.
here."
Right.
Well, I'm on a different level. First of
Mhm.
all, I ain't grandmama type of material. And I'm gonna just be honest, okay? Just
Mhm.
because I have two sons and they have their own children, they also
Yeah.
have their own life. Mama
Yeah.
got to live her life.
Right.
So
Right.
although I went into grandmother mode, which
Yeah.
we all do, if you have
Yeah.
children or you have grandchildren, I
Yeah.
immediately went into that mode. And then he was like, hold up, wait, you grandmama and too hard. This
Yeah.
my son. And I was like, you know what?
Mhm.
You're right. This your
Right.
motherfucking son. So what I'm
Right.
gonna do is use
Yeah.
myself and
Right.
go over here, because if you're not
Yeah.
allowing me to show
Mhm.
up in the way that I now know that I deserve to show up, I'm not playing
Yeah.
small. I'm not
Right.
tiptoeing. I'm gonna say what's on my mind. And that is
Yeah.
a part of the soft life for me.
Yeah.
So I also know that I have to remove myself from people, from
Yeah.
places, from
Yeah.
environments that don't allow me to flow
Mhm.
with ease.
Yeah.
If I have to meter what I'm saying, now every
Yeah.
fight ain't a good fight, you know,
Mhm.
but if I
That
have to
right.
meter what I'm
That's right.
saying, I have to play small, tone it down, that ain't the environment for me. And
Yeah.
that's a part
Yeah.
of my soft life. And that is
Yeah.
also a boundary that I
Mhm.
set for myself that so many people do not allow themselves to have. Well, I'm a grandmama.
Mhm.
That's your only mama, but them your
Mhm.
children. How could you move out of the country and leave your
Mhm.
family? It's
Mhm.
about me. And I
Right.
think there is so many times that women don't realize that you get to set boundaries. You get to say no. You
Mhm.
get to move. You get to take up space in areas that make you feel good, that make you
Yeah.
feel comfortable, that make
Mhm.
you thrive. That's a part of the soft life. If you don't
Yeah.
allow yourself to have that, then you never experience that. If you've
Yeah.
never been the type of person to set boundaries or to say no or to, not be a people pleaser, you
Mhm.
never experience that. So, it made me think, okay, I had to go through that too, because now
Yeah.
I'm going back to that people pleasing mindset. Girl, we already graduated from that shit. Why are you going
Yeah.
back there? We
I
don't
know.
live there no
Yeah.
more on
Yeah.
so many levels. We don't
Yeah.
live there no more,
Yeah.
literally
Most
and
definitely.
figuratively.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm in a space where the baggage, let's go back to that, me carrying
Mhm.
all the heavy bags.
Mhm.
I get anxiety if I have more than 3 pieces of luggage. Right now, I'm going
Yeah.
back to Bali next week, well, less than a week, and I
Yeah.
have 3 suitcases, and I'm stressing because that's too much for me. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, it's too. I have
Yeah.
learned to now
Yeah.
just like, bro, you don't need
Mhm.
all that shit. I got
Right.
rid of my storage that's here in the United States because I
Okay.
no longer need that stuff.
You know, no
So
longer.
if I could encourage anything as far as this talk is concerned, for those of you who are listening, for those of you who will tune in on the replay, give yourself permission to not only say no, but to also say yes. Give
Mhm.
yourself permission to set boundaries in ways that you've never done before. Give
Mhm.
yourself permission to release, to let go,
Yeah.
because that is going to introduce you to a softer way of living. All that shit I was holding on to also had energy connected to that, you
Mhm.
know? And
Yeah.
that energy plays a part in your body. So
Yeah.
when I talk to my audience, my people, when I show up the way that I do online, you think, oh, she's being naked. Maybe she's dropping some thirst traps. It ain't even about that. It's
Mm-mm.
about liberating
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
giving myself the peace and the freedom that I've
Yeah.
been thriving, that I've been
Mhm.
yearning for, that a lot of us deserve. We deserve
Yeah.
an easy life. We deserve a life where I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna live where I want to live. I want to, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
operate on a
Yeah.
level that you've only heard about or you see other people doing and you're inspired by
Yeah.
the way that they do it. Well, you can do it too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as we are winding down,
Yeah.
I want to talk about. I said earlier in the show that you and I were in talks of collaborating on another level. I like the way you move. I like the way you move, DeAnda. I don't allow myself to, and I'm working on it. I
Yeah.
don't allow myself to trust people too often because I am someone who has that takeover spirit. I can do it all. I
Mhm.
don't need your help. I
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
I'm evolving. Okay. I'm evolving.
Yeah.
And I like the way you move, and I like your confidence. It's
Mhm.
amazing. And
Oh,
it
thank you.
opens up a space for me to say, okay, this is somebody that I can work with that I
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
also is a mover and shaker.
Yeah.
So talk to the people about something that's been highly requested in the boot
Yeah.
camp and outside the boot camp, and just
Yeah.
something that you and I
So,
collectively
yeah.
and individually thought about, and then it just all worked out with this whole collaboration, this
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
partnership.
I
So tell the people what
yeah.
we doing.
So thank you for all of that actually.
Mhm.
So um actually it's actually talking more about Bali. That's what it ends up being. And just to kind of give you a bit of context, um I mentioned earlier that I traveled to 5 countries and Bali was supposed to be one of them. However,
Mhm.
I knew that going to Bali, I wanted to do at the very least 90 days. And I knew if I
Mhm.
went at the time that was afforded to me, which was maybe a week, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I was really disappointed. I couldn't go to Bali or whatever. So then cut to going to Exodus Summit, going to your boot camp. And again, we're just talking. We're literally, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going, I live part-time in Bali, basically, I want to say, I don't even think you used the word part-time. I think you said, I live in Bali. And so I said,
Mhm.
start right there, start right there, start right there. What? Like I was trying to get to Bali this year. And I was like, okay. And then you mentioned, I think you met somebody who had a retreat or was doing a retreat or something. You mentioned retreat, and I forget exactly in
Mhm.
what context. And I again said, and I don't even think I stopped you on that one, but light bulb went off. And I said, okay, DeAnda, universe, what you trying to tell me? What's happening here? My mind started rolling and I created a proposal. I was like, I want to partner with you. One, that's going to get me to Bali, but it's going to be purposeful. And I think, again, the things that I have put out there in terms of goals for myself, I knew that meeting you was the catalyst for some of those things. The retreat, I've
Mhm.
been talking about building a retreat for at least 4 years. A lot of that was born out of being introduced to the Exodus Summit. So that had already been, I have a full digital folder on retreat, building a retreat, right? And then for you to say it, I was like, okay, DeAnda, stop saying it, stop thinking about it. And here's an opportunity to actually do it, right? And to do
Yeah.
it in a place like Bali, I was just like, oh my God. So anyway, I sent you the proposal. We, talked about it and it's like, you know what? I feel like this could be a grand collaboration. And what was born out of that was the power to be naked and how we can collaborate
Hello.
on that, And so,
So that's actually what I was saying to you. I said, you know what? Because what happened is, and what normally happens, and let me just talk to the audience about this really quick. What normally happens is because of the way that I show up online. If y'all don't know how I show up online, uh, follow me. Follow me if you're inspired to at
yes,
Godbod by Mo.
yes.
Um, and you'll understand. You'll be able to put some context with what I'm about to say. But
Yeah.
I wanted to what I mentioned to you, DeAnda, how this all got started is I wanted to create a retreat around the power to be naked, which is the book.
Yes.
We'll show y'all a couple of things. This is just the proof part. Oh, y'all can't see. But my latest book is called The Power to Be Naked. And
Yeah.
I said that I wanted to create a retreat around that. And let me tell you why. A lot of times people see me coaching to be confident, coaching, to break free of your childhood trauma, coaching you to build your own fan career. And they think it's just about that. But they
Mhm.
don't realize that it's so much more than that. It's building your confidence, it's building your body, it's loving yourself, it's looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing deeper than what you see in the mirror.
Right.
And even in the boot camp, they thought that they were just going to get, oh, this is how you set up your OnlyFans page and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But
Yeah.
they got so much
So much
more.
more.
It's not just
So
that.
much more.
You could do that on your own.
Yeah,
I go a
you can
little bit
Google
deeper
that. Yeah.
because it's deeper for
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
And this is a whole experience. I live it. I have lived it.
Yeah.
And the power to be naked is deeper than skin. So I
Yeah.
said, oh, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite women to come to Bali and to
Yeah.
create content behind this
Hmm.
beautiful backdrop of Bali,
Hmm.
to,
Hmm.
allow themselves to be in nature, to allow themselves to be surrounded with this beauty and to be treated like you belong, like you are
Hmm.
special, like you are this queen. We're gonna do photo shoots. We're gonna eat good food. We're gonna do this. Blah, 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 blah.
To
And
be in
DeAnda was like,
community. It's
"Oh."
about being in community too. That's the main thing.
DeAnda was like, she said, "You should do that." And then she said, "As a matter of fact," and she started talking about her own endeavors. So
Yeah.
now we are in a place where we are putting together some ideas on how to do this collaboratively.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that I had to learn to do and work with someone else instead of
Yeah.
doing it all alone.
Mhm.
And because I love the way you move, and because I trust you, and I trust your input, and I trust
Yeah.
your knowledge, when you wrote that proposal, it was like, hell yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you understand the vision. Of course, I
Right.
want to
Right.
do this together. So, yeah, I'm excited.
And I want to also mention that there's a link in both the description to get on the waiting list to learn more about, because like Mo just mentioned, we're still in the prep mode of
Hmm.
this. But we do have a wait list and it's in the description. You can find the link there. Um, and as soon as, things start to unfold, once you're on the wait list, you will receive more information.
Yes.
But yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And it's going to be
2020 is
amazing.
going to be amazing. It's going
And
to
it's
be.
crazy because even after we had that conversation, then a lot of women in the boot camp were like, "Oh, you need to do a retreat in
Yeah,
Bali."
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, "Oh yeah, so this is
yeah.
something that needs to happen because not
Hmm.
only was I thinking about it, but you were also thinking about a retreat, and then
Yeah,
the other women felt
right.
like it was something that they wanted to do and be a part of as
Absolutely.
well." So
Yeah.
like you said, those little whispers, we need to
Yes.
start paying attention to those, even
Absolutely.
if they're internal, even
Yeah.
if they're your body giving you indications that you need to do something different, you need to eat different, you need to go out in nature, you need to take a walk. One
Yeah.
of the things that my coach used to tell me all the time, and this is another thing, me being in control, like I got to be on
Wow.
goal all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Mo, go take a nap. And I'd be like, how is that going to solve anything?
Right.
That's just heightening the problem because I'm not
Yeah.
working on it. He's like, you cannot think straight
Yeah.
if your head is all over the place.
Hmm.
Go take a nap.
Yeah.
And I didn't really appreciate that or
Mhm.
understand it until I started giving myself permission
Yeah.
to sit down somewhere, to
Right.
rest, to
Yeah.
think, to have a
Mhm.
clear head, to breathe. And
Yeah.
that's what this retreat is going to allow you guys to do, to
Yeah.
breathe, to just sit down, to, turn it off for a moment. Just turn it off
And
and
be
receive.
about you and be about you, no one else but you, right?
Exactly.
So I just want to second that. Everything that you just mentioned, it is more about getting in community. It is about being and finding your, for lack of a better term, sweet spot. I mean, I love that term. I don't know. When I found it, I was just like, that's mine.
I like it
Uh,
too.
yeah. And, finding accountability, and sometimes that's all you need to get to the next level or to reach that goal that you thought was so unattainable because of all of the rules and fear that come into play when you decide to do something different, when you decide when you decide to do something. Sometimes for
Right.
some people, it's just, oh, I've decided I'm going to travel now.
Yes.
I've decided that I'm going to take a sabbatical. I've decided that I, would like to have an only platform. Okay,
Yeah.
then, once you decide, sometimes that's the hard part. But then you got to execute. Then you got to apply some execution there. And what we're offering in this retreat is not only support, but room for you to further explore that, to further build that out in a way that is just for you and just about you,
And
so
room for you to surround yourself with people who get it and who
yeah,
think like you.
yeah.
Um, because honestly, even talking to you a lot of times, DeAnda, and it was such a trip because this was a 14-day boot camp that,
Yeah.
you know, where we decided and we met each other and I said
Yeah.
yes to her help. But
Yeah.
we would always do like what do they call that? A check-in, right?
Mhm.
A
Mhm.
check-in either before the class or after the class, any updates, we just be going back and forth. But it
Yeah.
had gotten to the point where certain things would happen in the class, and I'm like a real big energy person, and I'll pick up on it. I might not say nothing, but
Mhm.
I'll pick up on it. And then when we had our check-ins, it was like we were already on the same wavelength. Like we were just
It
I
was
was like, oh,
exciting.
you heard that too? Oh,
Yeah.
you felt that too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't just me,
Right. Right.
So sometimes we need to allow ourselves to be in rooms or be
Yeah.
with people who are on the same wavelength
Yeah.
and who will affirm,
Mhm.
some of the thoughts and the feelings that we're already experiencing so
Yeah.
that we do feel seen.
Yeah.
And I felt really seen with
Yeah.
y'all. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. I mean, when I think about this, it's just like, girl, if you didn't say yes, you would still be struggling through that boot camp today.
Right.
You would still be, and
Right.
although everything was not perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
It
It was
was.
perfect for the time. The things that happened should have happened because it
Yeah.
taught me how to stretch. I
Totally
know, I
agree.
know, how to operate a little bit better with it when it
Yeah.
comes to Zoom, in the back end
Yeah.
and all of that. So these
Yeah.
are things that, once you say yes to yourself and you
Mhm.
allow yourself to receive, you really receive, not
Yeah.
just in that moment, but
Yeah.
even outside of that moment,
Right.
even as a part of your mind, you expand on so many levels,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
just a matter of wanting to change and realizing that you deserve, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
deserve more and you deserve it, right? Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
I agree. I totally agree. Well, Mo, this has been a tremendously rewarding conversation. It allowed us to do more of that sister friend stuff, provide each other accountability, introduce what we got coming up.
Mhm.
And I think we are getting in mode to do more of this.
Yes.
Our flow has, I think from the beginning we realized that we have a flow, and it just further, this talk or this live has further kind of cemented it for me. You mentioned it the other day. It's like, you know what, I think this might be a thing. I think we might
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
make this a thing. And yeah, so I think we're
Can
getting
you see me?
there.
Oh, no, no. Wait, hold on. I messed.
Okay,
Oops.
yeah, I don't know,
I
something happened.
messed up. I messed up. I
Oh,
did something.
okay. Okay, all right,
I'm
no
always
worries.
doing something.
No worries, no worries. But yeah, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, I'm going to encourage you all, if you're looking at the replay, to visit Mo's channel if you're on my channel, and if you're on Mo's channel, to visit my channel. And we're going to bring you more of this type of content and conversations. getting in community with you all. And it allows us to also be in community. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I just want to share, even though I've shared it with you,
Uh-huh.
I said in the beginning, I was like, DeAnda, this is going to be a thing. Like, you and I are going to work together. I feel that. I
Yeah,
feel that
you
you and I, this is
did.
even before we
Yeah,
talked about the retreat.
that is
I was
true.
like, I was
Yeah,
like, you and I are going to work together. This is going to be
yeah,
big. What
yeah.
we're doing, or
Mhm.
what my vision is going to be big. It's going to grow. I feel
Yeah,
that, and I feel like you're going to be a part of it,
yeah,
and I still do. And I wanted to share that with the audience. And when
yeah,
it boils down to doing these YouTube talks, same thing. Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
might have only had a handful of people in here tonight or today, but I
yeah,
feel that
yeah.
it's going to grow. And I feel
Mhm.
like this is something that people need.
Absolutely.
Just some encouragement, just a little bit of push, just to see that they are not in this thing alone.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're gonna come back on here and we're gonna do this again, so y'all can
Yeah,
expect it. Okay.
yeah. Good,
So
good,
not
good.
only subscribe to the channels, but also hit the notification bell, because I'm gonna get back into my vlogging bag as well,
Yeah.
especially when I get to Bali. I just really don't feel inspired being here in Las Vegas. Okay, that's another topic for another show.
Another topic for another day, right? I
But
get it.
I'm gonna get back into my vlogging just to inspire you, because I'm also rebranding and shifting. I'm pivoting
Mhm.
my business, and I'm
Okay.
finna lean into start your OnlyFans, your loyal fans, whatever your
Yeah,
fan career, so that you can move out of these United States if that's what you want to
yeah.
do.
If
Because
that's
this
what
ain't
you
for everybody. This life
right,
ain't for everybody.
right. Yeah,
But for those who want to do it and who are inspired to give yourself permission to
yeah.
take up space in other parts of the world, yeah, I'm finna lean into that because
I
it's
love it.
needed.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
love it.
needed.
I love it. Well, I'm just gonna
Mhm.
leave this one little note or nugget with our audience. Drop your biggest takeaway in the comment section, and share this live with a sister friend,
Yeah,
and who needs your support, who you want to support, and remember that you don't have to do it alone.
alone.
You don't have to do it alone. All right.
All
Well,
right. And as we say on my channel, in the meantime and in between time, until the next time you be fit, be
yeah.
fierce, be
Awesome.
fabulous. Healthy
Yeah.
is the new sexy.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.